Hello, all of my yoga students at Safe Harbor. Sorry, this has to be a pre-recorded one for today, but at least we do get to still spend a little bit of time together. Those of you who have not met me before, if you are brand new to this, my name is Jen Rhodes. I've been studying yoga for about 14 years now, teaching for about 5 or 6 going on years, and absolutely am engulfed in what I do. So I hope that some of this does assist you as well. So we're going to go through a little bit of yoga, and then I'm going to leave you with an assignment at the end to complete with Sarah. So first, I'd like you to either find yourself in your seat nice and comfortably, sitting up nice and tall, and then otherwise everyone else who is on the ground, if you don't mind coming down to your mats and coming down to lay on your back, that would be wonderful. So let's get started. So finding our way onto our mat here. You can let your legs go long just as I am. You can place one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly to feel the breath and the heartbeat at the same time. You can go ahead and bring your legs in a little bit and bring the soles of your feet together to let your legs go wide. That helps to open up your hips a little bit and release some stress or tension there. Or if you just want to simply have your feet on the ground, feel free. But try to let this whole lower part of your lumbar spine go ahead and sink down into the mat if you feel like it's hovering. And find your comfy spot, close your eyes just as everyone around you is as well. And just take this moment to go inward. So we are bombarded every single day with thoughts, with new feelings, with new interactions, with experiences that we may not be equipped for, or that may be a little bit overwhelming for us, especially in today's world. So I just want us to take the next time that we have together to bring ourselves inside and kind of ignore the outside for a little bit, just knowing that our only responsibility at this moment is to simply be on our mat or in our chair or in that room, and to be able to focus a little. So with that being said, as you are laying down on your mat or you're seated in your chair, I always like to start with some type of quote, something that we can go off of throughout our time together, to be able to really hone in on a particular subject. And this one really felt best for me for today, as far as today's environment and what I was feeling this morning as I'm filming this. So what came to mind most for me is surviving. So each and every one of us has survived. That's a true statement in every way. How rough the path has been to get to the point that we're at, it's really individualistic. But what I wanted to kind of pull into this whole theory is, when things change inside you, things change around you. So as you lay there or sit there, I want you to really think about the fact of how you have reacted in the past, or how you haven't reacted in the past that you wish you've done, to really bring yourself to the point you're at now. If, again, unfortunately you're suffering from any type of anxiety or depression or anything that's heavy like that, again, just knowing that the outside world is always there, but it's a projection of our own minds. So we really make our day the way our day is going to unfold. So just for the next 40 minutes-ish or so, or however long Sarah has you in for this, I know my video won't be quite that long, just really focus in on what you can do to better yourself from the inside, to help project out what you want to show on the outside. Okay, so Let's just make some small movements here. If you're laying or sitting with your eyes closed, keep them closed. Just wiggle your fingers and your toes. Point your feet toward the front of the room and then flex your toes back toward you. Go ahead and roll your wrists in circles and flex them back like you're standing on something with your hands, and then flex them down so you're almost making fists and your hands are going toward your inner wrists. And just do a couple movements like that. Get yourself woken up. And then we're just going to come to that place in our seat or on our mat and hug our left knee into our chest here first. You can bring hands around your shin or around the back of your thigh, whichever is most accessible for you. And our goal here is to really keep our shoulders on the mat and our gaze right up at the sky, or our eyes still closed. Since we're not moving too much and we don't have to worry about balance, we really don't have to worry about our sight either. So to really sink this in, if you're willing to keep your eyes closed, that is most advised. So from here, keeping your shoulders on the mat or on the back of your chair. You can hug one knee in when you're in a chair as well if you wish. And then from here, we're just going to release our hands and slowly bring the sole of our left foot down to the mat. Now, working with our right leg, we're going to go ahead and just bring that up and cross our right ankle over our left knee. So we're creating this number 4 type of position with our legs here. Again, our upper body is still exactly as it was a moment ago. We're just simply moving our bottom half. So you can use your right hand to try to press slightly into this leg. You don't want to force anything ever, only go to your body's limits, but you can go ahead and put a little bit of pressure into that leg. Give it that extra half of an inch that it may have to move. And just really focus on where you feel tightness. So you may feel that in your hips themselves. You may feel it in your thigh. Again, wherever you're feeling that tightness, I want you to mentally send any breath that you're breathing in and out into those muscles, into those tight places, and just let them know, hey, you don't need to be tense right now. We can release it. So go ahead and release any tension. And then let's take an inhale in together. Exhale it out. And from here, let's go ahead and uncross that leg. Just bring your feet as wide as the mat, or if you're in a chair, you can bring your feet a little bit wider. Just let your knees knock in toward one another. And just give yourself a little bit of relief on your legs. Holding here for just a moment. And also starting to find a little bit of breath work here. We're going to keep breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. And some of you will recognize this breath as our Darth Vader or ocean breath. But in yoga, it's called Ujjayi breath. And it goes in through the nose and out through the nose. And we constrict our throat so you can almost sound that really breathy, like that Luke, I am your father type of voice. So let's try to find that as well as we progress. If your feet are mat width, go ahead and bring them back in. And this time we're going to hug our right knee into our chest. Just extend that left leg long and do the same thing on the opposite side. So it doesn't have to mirror the left if you had hands on a shin on that side, and this time you want to go to the back of the leg. If that's less strenuous for you, feel free. And just keep using your breath as that goal to help bring that right knee a little tiny bit closer toward our right shoulder as we breathe and as we relax and release tension. From here, release your hands. Go ahead and just bring the sole of that right foot down to the mat with your knee bent. And then we're going to cross the left ankle over the right knee here. So creating that number 4 once again. That left hand can be used as a helper if you want to just use that to give a little bit of pressure, a little bit of push to that leg. That's perfectly acceptable. Otherwise, you can just go ahead and lay there simply and just breathe into any spots on this side as well that may feel a little bit tight or a little bit off. and just even yourself out. Take one more breath in through the nose here, out through the nose here, and go ahead and release that leg. Go ahead and heel toe those feet back out mat width or a little bit wider than your chair, and then go ahead and knock the knees in once more. Just release any tension in the hips or the lower back that may have been built. Now, hugging both knees into our chest, give yourselves a little hug, a little massage. Go back and forth, side to side with your lower lumbar spine, and just give yourself that little kind of self massage with the ground, and allow any of those Rice Krispies that we kind of build up that you may feel snap, crackling, and popping in your lower back. Just let those release. And then with our hands behind our thighs, we're going to get silly for a second and get ourselves up to seated. So feel free to just come up to seated if that's in your body, or you can go ahead and kick your feet back a little bit and give yourself a little roll to come up to seated. So from here, we're going to bring the soles of our feet together and our knees wide, coming into this butterfly shape with our legs. Interlace fingers around your toes if that's acceptable. Otherwise, you can just go ahead and rest your arms on your legs as they are, whichever you prefer. So, but really just coming into these hips a little bit more as we started to open up. So I want us to sit up nice and tall. So first, go ahead and bring your hands behind you. Move yourself off of your seat. Rock back and forth a little bit. Make sure you're sitting right onto those sits bones. And then bring your hands around your toes if you can still sit up nice and tall, or bring your hands over to your lap. So whichever works best. From here, we're really going to fold forward and kind of give ourselves a little bit of a stretch in our hips and in our lower back as we do so. So if your hands are here, bring them to your hips. Let your pointer fingers and your thumbs come right around that crease where you bend at your hips. Stay seated nice and straight. Take a big inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose as you fold forward. So I'm keeping my back straight, as you can see, and I would advise to do as well for anyone who's trying it with me. So keeping our back straight, keeping ourselves seated on our mats, and just giving us that little bit of a fold forward. It may only be a few inches. We're not going all the way to the ground here. But once you feel that you've folded from that place in your hips, you can remove your hands and just place your hands in front of you. You can put a little pressure into them if you need, or you can just simply rest them, or come down to forearms, or wherever you feel you can still keep this flat back and bend too. So let's take 3 big breaths through the nose together here. Take an inhale and exhale. And inhale, exhale through the nose. One more time, in through the nose, out through the nose. Go ahead and slowly walk your hands back up to that seated position, coming into a twist, crossing across our body. Let's bring our left hand to our right knee. Right hand comes behind us with fingertips facing back. Take an inhale, sit nice and tall like we did before. And then as we inhale, let your exhale bring that twist in. So you're looking over toward the right or toward that right shoulder. So find your space and your place in the world here on your mat or in your chair, using that little bit of tension on your hands to bring you into this twist. Same thing, opposite side, and we're kind of going to sweep right through it. So we'll swap hands out. Bring your gaze back to the front. Release that left hand from the right knee. Bring the right hand to the left. Left hand goes behind. Sit nice and tall. Take an inhale. Exhale. Go ahead and come back and twist over toward that back shoulder or toward the left. So never straining, never going further than our really end goal point for the day. So just kind of coming to that comfort zone. Then let's go ahead and inhale, bring ourselves back into center. Rest your arms on your legs here. Close the eyes for just a moment. Refocus if your mind has wandered. So just go ahead and come back to that inner thought of just building that strength that's inside of us and really building our resilience. So coming back into that within our mind with any intention that we had at the beginning of our class to really bring it forward and really bring forward any part of that surviving, amazing nature that we have inside of ourselves, and just allow the change to come from the outside to within. Now, going ahead and releasing that posture, we're just going to go ahead and roll ourselves onto all fours. So bringing ourselves onto all fours here. Make sure your hands are right underneath of your shoulders, knees are underneath of your wrists. And we're going to come into a flat back. So you can see here, I'm not arching it. I'm not doing anything with my spine except just simply being in this tabletop style type of position. My hands are right underneath of my shoulders. My fingers are spread nice and wide here to create big catcher's mitts here in front of me. And my pointer fingers are level with the sides of my mat. Those of you in chairs, you can do the same movement with your spine, but just with that slightly smaller range of motion as you're seated. So you can just move forward in your seat and do this as well. So we're going to take a big inhale, going through some cat and some cow movements. Take an inhale here. And on your exhale, we're going to round out the spine. So drop your tailbone down. Go ahead and bring your chin to your chest. Press through your arms. Press through your legs. Inhale. We're going to arch the spine. Bring our gaze up toward the sky or right in front of us. Press through the arms to create space. And let that belly drop down with all that air in it. Let's exhale. And go ahead and come into our cat. Round out your spine, tuck your tailbone, create space underneath. And then as we inhale, fill the belly, let the belly drop down toward the ground and bring your gaze up as you press through. One more time with your own breath. Go ahead on your exhale, rounding the spine. And on your inhale, arching the spine. From here, we're going to sit back into what's called child's pose. So you can keep your knees exactly as they are and just bring your big toes to touch each other if you are on a mat. Or if you want a little bit more action in the hips, bring your knees about mat width distance and keep those big toes together. Sit yourself as far back onto your heels as you can. And the full version of it is having your arms outstretched and your forehead on the ground. If that's too far away from where your forehead is now to the ground, feel free to go ahead and bring your arms like this and go ahead and cross them and just bring your forehead onto the back of your wrist or onto your forearm. Just allow yourself to rest there and bring the ground up to you. So really coming into this resting pose, allowing this for another collective moment of closing the eyes as everyone is otherwise around you. And then let's share one good deep inhale through the nose, and we're going to exhale through the mouth like we're fogging a window. So go ahead and take an inhale here while we're in this safe, this resting part of our posture. Take an inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Then from here, I'm going to come up into a little bit of balance that I want to give to us here for today's practice. So we're going to go ahead and slowly bring your chin to your chest, roll yourself back up onto all fours. Bring your knees back in underneath of your hips if there are anywhere else. And then we're going to come quickly into what's called downward facing dog, which is a kind of stereotypical. You may recognize it even if you're not familiar with yoga, but going into down dog, just lifting your knees simply and coming into this V shape with your body. So we're kind of bringing our hips up. Pretend like a puppeteer has strings around where your hips bend and that they're pulling them up toward the ceiling. You can see that little extension that I just had there. And we want to try to push our heels down toward the ground. They may never meet the ground, but that's totally fine. So just gearing them down toward the ground to help stretch out those hamstrings. For one moment, as we're in this slightly more difficult pose, just go ahead and bend the knees. We call this walking the dog. So feel free to bend at your knees. I personally like a good bend in my knees and to look forward because I get that little arch in my spine and a little release in my neck. And then as I come back into it, I just let my head hang heavy and look back toward my feet. Now to come up to standing, we're going to walk our hands and our feet in one step at a time toward the middle of our mat. So take one step with your feet, one step with your hands, one step with your feet, one step with your hands until you find yourself right near the middle here or at your kind of smallest point that you can get to. And let's take an inhale. Let your fingertips go up your shins. Halfway lift, find a flat back here. And then on your next exhale, just go ahead and let your head fall heavy, your torso fall heavy. And we can bring our hands elbow to hand here. Go ahead and put a little bend in your knees. Almost rest your torso on the top of your thighs and give yourself a slight rock from left to right. You'll feel a little release in your lower back. And then coming back into stillness here, just let your arms drop, your head drop heavy. Keep as much of a bend in the knees as you'd like. And then that same slow roll that we like to do, we're going to bring our chin to our chest, slowly come all the way up to standing. Then once we're there, let's go ahead and sweep our arms overhead. I know I'm cut off a little bit here from my video, so I do apologize, but bringing your arms over top of your head as I have them here, and then let's just go ahead and bring them down by our sides as we stand. So bring your feet just hip width on the ground. Feel yourself grounding into it. Close the eyes again while you're standing. Feel that little bit of a sway that you may have from side to side. That's happening all the time that we just don't notice because our eyes aren't normally closed while we're standing. But taking a quick moment to notice that and notice our inner balance. And then from here, we're going to go through a little bit of standing balance for those of you who want to give it a try. So let me go ahead and hoist myself up a little bit more so you can see my standing side of things. Thankfully, I have that ability to be able to move this a little bit in my room. Okay. So you should be able to see me a little bit better now. So for our standing balance, what we're going to end up doing today is a little bit of a hybrid. So we've worked a little bit on tree pose. We've worked a little bit on some things. So feel free, and I will actually bring a chair into my view as well, so you can see what I'm meaning for those of you that are in a chair. So if you're sitting in a chair, you can feel free to stand up, have your chair nearby you. But you can see I have the arms of the chair at least facing forward. So I'm just leaning on the back part. So moving this sideways just for the sake of the video. From here, what you can do is just use this as stability. If you are seated, use this as a helper. Other than a wall or something like that, feel free. But what we're going to do is use our balance on one leg to help kind of balance each side out. So chair or no chair, what we're going to do is we're going to put all of our weight into our right foot first. So go ahead and look down at that right foot. Make sure all four corners of that foot are grounded. So by grounded, I mean they're pressing into the earth. You feel like you're growing roots underneath of you. So we're going to start by bringing our hands onto our hips. We're going to put that weight into that right leg rather, put a little bend in that knee to start. And then we're just going to go ahead and slowly move our heel of our left foot off of the ground. Okay? So from here, lift that left knee. Okay, so left knee is even with the ground now. We're going to go ahead and keep our right hand right where it is on your hip. Look somewhere in front of you for something that's not moving, which is known as your drishti or your focal point in yoga. Then we're going to bring our hand to our inner left knee. Go ahead and just bring that open. Keep your focus on that point that's not moving. On your next exhale, bring that knee back in. And then we're going to find that tree pose that we normally do. So you can either bring your foot just to tap at your inner ankle, bring it to your inner shin, or you can bring it into your inner thigh, or my personal favorite is crossing it over.
So find your version. And this right hip, we don't want to pop out too much. So kind of slide it underneath of your body. You can put a little bit more straightness in that right leg or keep a tiny bend. And then we're just going to try to bring our hands into our heart center. So bringing our hands together and just trying to keep that focus on that one point. So we're going to hold this for 2 big breaths. So let's go in through the nose, out through the nose. One more, in through the nose, out from the nose. And now, without slingshotting this foot from wherever it is, let's just slowly bring our hands back to our hips. Slowly release that foot. We're going to come back to that same knee level with the ground space here, and then slowly on your exhale, bring that foot back down. Roll out that right ankle, same thing, opposite side. And any of you who are using a chair, again, can use the back of the chair for stability instead of placing hands at heart center or on hips. So this time, placing our weight into our left foot, let's go ahead and bring that knee up. Hands are on our hips if we're doing this solo, or on the chair if you feel that way with it. So using that strength, keep that focus, find that focal point. And then we're going to bring the right hand into our inner right thigh. Keep that focus point. Bring that knee open to the side. Bring that knee back. And then, without placing the foot fully down, let's either find our kickstand, inner shin, inner thigh, or, as I even lose my own balance this morning, going ahead and crossing that foot over. Don't let this left hip pop out too much. Find your standing balance, find your focal point. And again, 2 big breaths, in through the nose, out through the nose. In through the nose, out through the nose. Beautiful. Go ahead and release that. Leg comes back up even. Hands come back to our hips. Slowly bring that foot back down. Roll out that left ankle. Give it some love. And I'm just going to move my chair out of the way here, though, for my demonstration, since that won't be needed any longer. And we're going to go into a little bit of a practice of meditation at the end here. So just coming into ourselves and coming inward once again. So coming down to our seats, if you want to make it creative, feel free to do this with me. We're going to come onto our tippy toes. Bring our hands into our heart center, so our palms together. Try to stay on those tippy toes while you bend under your knees and sit down onto your heels. So our heels are still lifted at this point. You have 2 options. You can either just roll right back onto your sits bones and have a seat, or challenge yourself a little bit. Use your core to help you, and go ahead and just place your heels down to keep your bottom up, and then slowly bring yourself back down. All right. From here, we're going to find our way down to our backs on our mats once again, just as we were in the beginning. So let's go ahead and just slowly roll ourselves back. Bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself that benefit of a rock back and forth one more time. And then, after we've made any movements we feel we need to before being still, coming back into our seat or onto our mat, let every part of the back of your body touch the mat here and just kind of melt in. Palms can be facing up next to us, palms can be facing down. You can place one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. And right now we're going to kind of stop controlling the breath. So start to come back to that normal breathing that you do, maybe just a little bit deeper than normal. So letting ourselves relax. Let's take one breath to just release any tension, scanning all the way from the top of our heads all the way to our toes, that we're not crunching our toes, we're not closing our eyes too tight, we're not wrinkling our forehead or our scalp. So releasing everything in this breath. Let's take an inhale. Exhale through the mouth. Just let every part of that breath escape. Any negativity, any tension,
Just let it on go. And from here, just coming into the room, and just to really hone in on where we are, I want you, as your eyes are closed, to really zoom into where you are right now, which I do encourage in a lot of my classes, because sometimes we just feel like we're an ant on this planet, and just to kind of realize that we do have a purpose and we do have a reason for being here. Let's kind of zoom in, so to speak. So with your eyes closed, picture the night sky. You're in outer space. You're looking down at the earth. You can see the lights, the bright colors. Now we're zooming into the United States. So let your focus and your mental image go to that. We're zooming into Pennsylvania. We're zooming into Easton. And from here, we're zooming into your room and into your mat or chair. So your focus right now and your bubble, your space that's around you, try to picture a light that's just surrounding your entire body, almost like a dome or a bubble. And as you find that bubble, maybe see if you see a color in that bubble. Make it a little interesting. I remember a couple of weeks ago, one of the students said purple was their bubble, so hey, have a purple bubble if you'd like. But come into that bubble wherever you're at. Simply give yourself a moment. Let your breath come to normal. And what I'd like to leave you all with today, so of course, as we started, I had mentioned when things change inside you, things change around you. So I'm hoping that some of the peace that we brought to the inside will help bring some peace to the outside for you today. And the last point that I do want to bring up as you're laying here or sitting here with your eyes shut is a quote by Rupi Kaur. He said, "And here you are living despite it all." So we've all had a weird journey on this planet, as every human being does. We've gone through our trials and tribulations, and we know what life's all about. So really, at this moment, knowing and giving gratitude that you have made it this far and you will make it way further. So, using your strength here, if you are laying down on your mat, go ahead and bring your knees back into your chest, wrap your arms around your shins and give yourselves a little hug. And then we're going to bring our right arm to our side and just go ahead and roll on to that right side using your arm as a pillow, coming into the fetal position for just a second and giving gratitude that we have the ability to restart every single day. And then let's press into the hands, slowly come up into a comfortable seat, whatever that comfortable seat may look like for you. And then we're going to end here today with a little bit of a challenge if you have some time. I'm not sure how long my video has gone because I just wanted to go ahead and make this for you guys today. But if there is some extra time, what I'd like for you all to do is create a gratitude list. So if Sarah can supply you with any paper or pens, just to write down 5 things that you're grateful for right now. I want you to take a few moments, really think about it, and really think about what matters most to you at this time and what you find that you are most grateful for in this moment. So not 10 minutes ago, not 3 days ago, but right now, what you are thankful for and what you really live for at that point, what your passion is or where your drive comes from. So we're going to end our class though, other than the extra exercise if you'd like, with the word that means the light in me sees and honors the light in you, which is namaste. So let's bring our arms way high overhead, sweep them up, bring your palms together so they touch, seal in any good breath, good vibes, good energy, all those good hippie things. bring those hands right down to your heart, which is a center of love and gratitude. And just go ahead, close the eyes one last time. Say a silent thank you. And then if you want to, I know I'm not actually here at the moment to hear you, but if you would like to go ahead and bow forward and thank each other, thank Sarah, thank everyone who helps you out throughout your day by bowing slightly forward and just saying, Namaste. So thank you so much to my Safe Harbor group. I'm so glad that I still got to teach you today without really being here. Feel free to use my words and use any of my theories that I've brought up today to help you through the rest of your day and the rest of your week. And I hope all is well with everyone, and I will see you same time next Monday, but I will actually be here. So thank you again, guys. Good to see you all, and take care.